sit upright and check whether the body is fully relaxed. Keep a smile on the lips. And of course, don't press the eyelids. Keep them lightly closed. And allow the mind to become quiet. If you allow, it becomes quiet. You need not force it. You just allow, it becomes quiet. Consider a life situation in which the past constantly haunts, making us unhappy. The imagination of the future makes us ever on the edge, insecure, and outright afraid. And in the present, we are afflicted by frustration, anger, jealousy, etc. How much of that description applies to you? You look at it and understand yourself. The memory of the past coming as a wave and making me unhappy. The imagination of the future making me feel acutely insecure. And in the present, I am afflicted by anger, jealousy, frustration, etc. This describes the life of a worldly person. How much of it applies to me? This kind of inquiry into oneself liberates. This is called self-inquiry. Having described or understood the problem, what is the solution? In simple words, solution is attention. Just paying attention. The problem can be described as inadvertence, meaning you have put yourself in this mess of the problem due to inadvertence, And now, if you pay attention, you will be liberated. This has nothing to do with religious systems and beliefs and practices, or gurus, or scriptures and texts and books. This is you yourself guiding yourself by watching your consciousness. And therefore, this becomes nididhyasanam, meditation. Attention liberates. Pay attention to the mind. As mind digs up the past from the memory and brings it into the present, you pay attention. When the mind starts imagining the future, pay attention to that imagination. When the mind projects anger, frustration, jealousy, etc., pay attention to that moment of the mind in the present. By doing so, mind starts settling down. Have patience, persevere with the attention, and you will notice that mind starts settling down. It remains quiet more and more. That helps me to grow into my inner being. Mind is the outer flow. And as the mind starts settling down, still moves but settles down, does not bother that much. That is when I am in touch with my inner being. The changeless being. Because it is changeless, it is also timeless and spaceless. The inner being, Sat. That shines as the knowing. Just like the lamp is same as the lamp shines. What we say, svayam meaning Swayam is the being, which itself is the shining. In which there is no doing. That being, shining as the knowing, means just be. Is freedom. and hence love. Freedom and love go together. There is love only when there is freedom from the restlessness of the mind. There is freedom only in the being, not in the becoming, which is mind. And that freedom is love. And that is Ananda. It is the same reality which is the Sat, the being, the Chit shining as the knowing, that is myself. I am. I am and I know. I know that I am. That is the Sat Chit. And that is free from the vagaries of the mind. That is free from becoming. And hence that is love. The freedom, the love are same as the bliss, Ananda. Anandoham. You should know yourself. You are the very repository of bliss. Anandoham. Sit at ease, relax, and then open the eyes slowly. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shrutis Smriti Purananamalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram jñātṛjñānajñeyabhedaḥ paratmani na vidyate cidānandaikarūpatvāddīpyate svayameva tat. Tat is that Brahma, which is Atma. When you say Atma, you have to say Saha. When you say Tat, that is Brahma. So that Brahma, which is the Atma, it shines by itself. Svayameva dīpyate. It is like the sun. Sun shines by itself. You don't invite sun. Sun reveals itself. Or you invite the sun. Sun reveals itself. You stand at the window. That is all you do. You stand at the window. keep the window clean. That is the only condition you have to fulfill. You cannot invite the sun. So, that's why when it comes to Atma, we say it is aprameyaha, Atma. It is not available for some means of knowledge. That doesn't mean we are dismissing a valid means of knowledge. We are not dismissing. Like it is the eyesight which helps me to know that this is the part. We are not dismissing it. Eyesight can do that much, rupa jnanam. We do not dismiss it. It is valid. In its place, it is valid. So pratyakshadi pramanas have their relevance. So for example, at the end of the class you go and you go home, you take food and go home. You need pratyaksha and anumana. Without anumana you cannot drive a car. How do you know your tank is full? Anumana. Earlier, the Indian auto driver, Hyderabad auto driver used to have a scale, metal scale. And when he gets doubt how much petrol is there, he opens the lid and puts it down and pulls out and sees like that. He relies on pratyaksha. Whereas you people are all very intelligent, and so you don't do, you are anumana. You see a dial and know that the fuel is there. So pratyaksha and anumana, who dismisses them? They are available. They are needed. To go home you need pratyaksha and anumana. The entire aeroplane travels by anumana. In fact, the aeroplane has got the windshield which is see-through. You can see through. The pilot can see what is ahead. What is ahead, what he will see. Once he goes up, there is nothing to see. In fact, on the ground also he need not see anything. It is suggested that you can close that windshield with metal sheet. I mean, you can have the metal sheet. You don't need a windshield or a see-through. But for aesthetic reasons, they have put a glass there. It looks as if something is wrong if there is no windshield. That's why they put it. So, therefore, in the day-to-day life, pratyaksha and anumana is always there. Nobody dismisses it. Only you cannot know Atma with these pramanas. Now what about Shastra? Shastra also you put it there. Shastra can only be the pointer, Lakshanam. That's why Vedantins are very clear from day one. They don't say Brahma Nirvachanam. They say Brahma Lakshanam. It is the Nayayikas who do not use the word Lakshana. They don't use the word Lakshana. They use the word Nirvachanam. And they claim, Vayam Pramana Kushalaha, Nirvaktum Samarthaha, like that they claim. We are experts in operating the pramanas of pratyaksha and anumana, etc. And therefore we are capable of defining anything and everything. That is their stand. And then they start the process with the Pruthivi. That is how they start. Pruthivi you define, we define, everything we define. Gandhavati Pruthivi. Like that they define. And they define everything. Define Vayu, Rupasparshavan, Rupasparshavan, Vayu, Rupatve sati Sparshavatvam, Vayor Lakshanam. Like that they go on defining everything. And they want to define Atma also. You cannot define the knower who knows all. You cannot define the knower. So that is where Atma is aprameya. Aprameya means not available for the means of knowing. That doesn't mean that Atma remains in dark forever. In our childhood we used to hear about Lokaloka Parvata in the poems. Kalidasa's poem also it is there. There is a mountain range called Lokaloka Parvata, Loka means this side of it, you can see things where there is light. Loka is you are able to see, sunlight is there. That side of the mountain, there is no way to see. It is permanently in the darkness. So that side of Loka mountain, nobody knows it because you cannot see it. Is Atma like that? It is not like that. It shines by itself. It is you, and you don't need any other means. Means effort. Means translates as effort. You need a means to know Atma, means you have to put in effort to get that means. So, Atma svayam prakashaha, svayameva dīpyate. Then there can be a small subtle variation. Atma knows itself. That is not acceptable. That is Bodhas. Kshanika Vijñānavada. The mind knows everything and the mind knows itself. There it is okay for them, but that doesn't apply to Atma. In a given situation, you may say it and get away with it because the focus is not so much in the intricate detail of it. You are talking something else. So in that situation, Atma swayam prakashate, some such thing you can say and move on. It knows itself. Atma ātmanaiva like that you can say and move on. When the focus is not on the Atma alone, when the vivaksha, the intent is elsewhere. But when you have to rigorously look at Atma, then Atmana jñāya, Atma is realized by Atma, is not valid. Because when you say Atma sees itself, Atma knows itself, you have introduced the element of objectivity into the Atma. It is the subject, Atma is the subject, but at the same time you have introduced objectivity into it, because Atma knows itself. Sometimes they call it a reflex analysis. That doesn't apply to Atma. Bodhas maintained that Atma is, it knows itself. That is how they maintained. And Shankara dismissed it. He doesn't agree to that. In Prashnopanishad Bhashya and also in Prashna, there is an elaborate discussion on this particular topic. And the conclusion is svayameva dīpyate. That is the conclusion. Atma, Atmana jñēyaha, na, that is not the way to put it. Atma svayam dīpyate, svayam prakashate. So svayam prakasha Atma, you have to say that. And Shankara gives the example, like Suryaha jagat prakashayati, he illuminates the jagat, Atmanamapi prakashayati, is wrong. You should not say that. You have to say, Suryaha jagat prakashayati, jagat is dvitiya ekavachanam, karma. And swayam prakashate, you have to say. Okay? Even that verb is, it is upachara. Means it has to be said, therefore it is said. In Sanskrit, noun and verb are always together. We don't give too much separation between noun and verb. The verb becomes the noun, noun becomes the verb. So swayam prakashate is same as swayam prakashaha. Okay? Prakashate iti prakashaha. The noun and verb are together. Therefore, Atma swayam prakashaha. Swayam deepaha, you can say. Dīpyate svayameva tat. So, you see, when you can experience all this in yourself. Swayam dīpyate. When did you notice this? When you give total attention, there is complete silence. They go together. People complain about the agitation of the mind. The mind is agitated. Agitated means what? Three things. The Past comes as a wave and bothers you, makes you unhappy. You imagine the future and become insecure. And in the present you are angry, you are frustrated, you are very deeply troubled. That is the present. So that is the agitation of the mind, threefold agitation of the mind. And this is how people live. In the society, people live like that, including us. The degree only varies. How much degree you have to settle for yourself. There is a question which I mentioned already. Is it possible to have a calm and quiet mind all through the day? Yes. It is possible, but you have to work at it. You have to look, that work is what I told in this today's meditation. In the first half of that small meditation, look at yourself and see how much worldly you are. How often the past is bothering you. How often you imagine the future and become insecure. And in the present, what is going on in your consciousness? You check. You pay attention. Because that life in which the past, present and future, the mind burdened with past, present and future, are you following? That weighs heavily upon you. That life is not a happy life. People are not happy people. That is not life, really speaking. That is death, spiritual death. In that sense, people are, it may sound a bit harsh, people are walking corpses, nothing else. Because they are in touch with the real. They are just walking corpses. And so that is how we are living. And now you just pay attention. That's all. Complete attention you pay. What happens if you pay complete attention? The mind becomes quiet. There is silence. There is total silence. And this total silence, inner silence, is the target of the Hatha yogis for hundreds of years. And they did not succeed yet. They will never succeed also. The Hatha yoga is not the solution. You see, I have some asthmatic problem, pranayama is the solution. Okay? And I have some physical ailment, physiotherapy is the solution. And to some extent, the mind also can be purified with some pranayama. Pranayama dahed doshan. To some extent, you can purify the mind by pranayama. But prana vikshanam really purifies the mind. Not so much pranayama. In pranayama there is effort, whereas in prana vikshanam there is no effort. And what Ramana Maharshi teaches in Upadeshasara is not pranayama. There is pranayama. Pranayama is like physical exercise. Vedanta students, should they do physical exercise or not? They should do pranayama also. Because it is physical exercise, almost like physical exercise. Only prana, that the breath becomes the link between the body and the mind. And therefore it has some subtle nature in it. Mind is even more subtle. So pranayama has a particular relevance and it is beautiful. When your BP is high, better do some pranayama. BP will come down. That fixes the number. But it doesn't make you a happy person. Okay? Therefore, it has its relevance. Therefore, the Hatha yogis, they are trying in all possible ways to acquire the complete silence. They are putting in a lot of effort. Now you tell me, you put a lot of effort to make things silent, what will happen? Will you create silence or noise? That is what happens. Therefore, it is self-defeating, it is, and contradictory. Therefore, that is not going to provide solution. You don't need that much of that struggle. You don't need. Pranayama is a struggle. You don't need it. Suppose you do Kapalabhati. How much struggle it is? But you need, like walking is also struggle, then why are we walking? Therefore do some Kapalabhati by all means. Okay? But that is not the point here. We are not in favor of Hatha Yoga when it comes to understanding the truth of oneself. We are not in favor of Patanjala Yoga or Hatha Yoga. You see, Patanjala Yoga or Hatha Yoga, it helps you to become popular in the world. That way it helps. You take a piece of it and you magnify it, make a, like what I do, take a verse and talk about it for 1.5 hours. That is what I am doing. So similarly, take one small exercise, pranayama, kapalabhati, you take it. And then blow it up, dilate it, and then go into the world. Sudarshan Kriya, kapalabhati and something more than that also, I suppose. Something a lot more than that. So take one yoga practice which is there in Hatha Yoga, like Gheranda Samhita, Hatha Yoga Pradipika. These texts are there. They present a variety of practices, plenty of them. So you look around and you should be smart to choose the right one. That smartness, that intelligence must be there. Choose the right one and then blow it up, dilate it and build systems around it and put it on the society. They will lap it up. Because society is always looking for something new. That is how the society is. Till it becomes old, they will be going after it. You can become very popular and become a guru on a big level, on a big scale. But that doesn't solve the fundamental problem of samsara. In fact, it creates a new samsara. Therefore, these things have to be understood clearly. This has to be said. Why I say? Because we have what is called yoga pratyakhyana. Etena yoga pratyuktaha, that is the sutra, Brahma Sutra. And the section is called yoga pratyakhyānādhikaranam. We have to do that. Otherwise, unless you clear some of these things and they come in the way, you gently put them aside and arrive at the final solution. So the real truth, you arrive at it. All this has to be said because by the time the real truth is presented before you, there is no glamour in it. It is very simple. And you cannot make a system out of it. You cannot decorate it because it has no form. If it has a form, you can decorate it. It has no form. It is nirguna. How are you make a glamour? How you can you make it glamorous? It is not glamorous at all. Therefore, people are very likely to be misled, to be deceived by the simplicity of the truth. When you appreciate something simple and you adopt the simple, that is wisdom. When you have that wisdom, then only you can understand the vision of Vedanta. If you are looking for something more complex, more elaborate, which demands a lot of effort, etc., effort soon becomes a struggle. But initially effort appears very attractive. Soon it becomes a struggle. So when you are looking for some such complexity, you will not be able to appreciate the simple. Suppose you go to Walmart to purchase a shirt. What kind of shirt you need? Some simple 100% cotton thing that covers the body and protects you from elements. If that is what you need, go to Walmart and pick up one immediately. Otherwise, you want a more fashionable this and that, then you have to go to high-end stores and look around, search this, that, pay a lot of money. Like that, time and energy and money, everything will go in that. The same thing happens here. In the field of religion and spirituality, the same thing happens. They want things which are more attractive, more complex. That is what people are. That is how the mind is. Human mind is like that. Therefore, anyway, I digressed, or maybe I made a good point in my own way. So did you notice? That is what I am asking. Did you notice? When you give total attention, there is complete silence. That moment, there is complete silence. What yoga, chittavritti nirodha rupa yoga could not accomplish in decades, you can accomplish, if I have to put it in terms of time, in a minute. Just to give complete attention. There is a total attention, there is complete silence. And in that silence, there is no frontier, there is no boundary. Because there is no boundary, there is no center. Me, the me is not there. The me is there only when there is mine, the boundary. When the boundary is not there, when you do not call anything mine, then there is no me. They go together. Me vanishes. And therefore, an attentive person, an attentive individual, has no center me in him. So that attention, in which there is no center, it is not my attention, it is attention pure, in which even me becomes a distraction. That attention and that silence is meditation. Vidyate svayameva tat. That is the way you have to understand. So, because these are meditation verses, that's why I have pointed it out. Then I said a few things about meditation. I would like to say one more thing before I go to the first line of the verse. I am approaching the verse from the second line. This is how they do also. They come from the verse from behind. Like that is what I have done already. Swayameva vidyate. That is what I have done. Why so? Because cidānandaikarūpatvāddīpyate. That Atma is only this much, ekarupa. It is only this much, nothing else. What is that? It is Chit and Ananda. Sat included. Chit includes Sat. That is what it is. Cidānandaikarūpa it is. It is homogeneous. It is the Sat which is Chit, which is Ananda. That is what it is. That is ekarupa. Why do you say ekarupa? Mind is not ekarupa. Mind is bahurupa. Everything in this world is bahurupa. Whereas Atma is ekarupa. That's why it is always the pure being shining as the knowing in which there is no doing. That is what it is. Timelessly. That is timelessly. That is what it is. That is you. And that's why it is ekarupa. Ekarupa is a very good word. Some people don't like ekarupa because they want to have bahurupa. There are people like that. They want to have bahurupa. Like, I am the chairman of this trust. I am the owner of that ashram. I am the guru for all these sishyas. So bahurupa, you want bahurupa. So this ekarupa sounds a very undesirable thing. So there are people like that. So people want complexity. They don't want simple. You see, once I asked for a cup of tea. Dr. Sukhadev was there. he called me for a cup of tea to his home. Do you want a cup of tea? I went, yes, I sat. He asked me, sit, so I sat. Then he asked, do you want a cup of tea? I said, yes, sir. So the cook, Amma is there, she also came, but the cook brought a cup of tea and put there. It is a tea, nothing else. They had a cup of tea to him also. And he is drinking it, and I am drinking it, and I am, he said, I am not very comfortable with it. That is a cup of tea, nothing else. Then he looked at my face, and then, are you okay with it? I said, okay. You want some milk in it? I don't mind. Then the cook put some milk in it. Then maybe you need some sugar also. Yeah. So he put sugar. Then he told me, you don't know how to drink tea. You do not know, you don't drink tea. You want tea or you want some concoction or decoction or whatever? You want tea, ekarupa. And he drinks tea. He wanted tea, he drinks tea. This is the British tea is like that? I don't know. And American coffee is like that. They drink coffee. You want coffee, drink coffee. Why do you want to mask the coffee? The coffee taste, you are drinking coffee for its taste and flavor. You mask it with milk and then mask it with sugar and further mask it with some chocolate, this, that. ये क्या बात है? ये तो काफी नहीं हुआ. Coffee means coffee. That is Atma. Ekarupa. People want Bahurupa. This Bahurupi buddhi should go away. Ekarupa means simple. The truth is simple and also single. That is the truth. And this is a thumb rule. The day you discover yourself as simple and single, that is when you are liberated. Because that defines you perfectly. You are simple and single. You come alone and you leave alone. You are not attached to anything of this world. You are Ekarupa, not Bahurupa. That is Atma. And therefore it shines by itself. So it is Ananda Swarupa. Therefore as it shines, as you abide as the Atma, Ananda doesn't come from somewhere else. Ananda is its Swarupa. And therefore the kind of meditation, this attention meditation, it is Ananda. It is Ananda. And therefore Ananda is part and parcel of meditation itself. But this point has to be highlighted because meditation is not the search for happiness. Suppose you make meditation a means of happiness, then you lost the point. And that may lead to some other complication. And you have moved away from the truth. Therefore you meditate because it is natural to you. See, the word meditate, verb, if you see the dictionary, it means to pay attention. But now meditation has become so popular in different ways that we forgot the simple meaning of the word to meditate. What is meditate? To pay attention. Now when you pay attention, only when you sit in a corner, close the door, sit in a corner and polish the mala, then only you meditate. Is that 10 minutes, 15, that is the only time you meditate? Or you meditate a whole life, whole day? To meditate is to pay attention. So only when you polish the mala that you meditate? No. While eating also you have to meditate. Otherwise people become sick. If you meditate, you don't become sick. While eating, you pay attention. What is served? How much is served? And while eating, what am I eating? How am I eating? All that you pay attention all the way. It becomes a meditation. Then you remain healthy. While walking, you meditate. To pay attention to walking, that becomes meditation. While talking, you pay attention to the effort going on, that becomes meditation. Shravanam becomes meditation. Therefore, so meditation, because it is a cidānanda Atma, so it is not the pursuit of happiness. It is not search for happiness. It has to be told. Otherwise, meditation is presented as a search for happiness. You search for something which you do not have. Right? Therefore, meditation as a search for happiness is a contradiction. Because your happiness, yourself. You see, meditation is a state of consciousness in which there is no formula, there is no search, there is no effort. Means a state of consciousness in which there is total freedom. That is meditation. Because if the formula is there, that is not freedom. Formula will guide you, that is not freedom. Search is not freedom. So, effort is not freedom. Therefore, no formula, no search, no effort. That means total freedom. That is meditation. That is important, because only when the consciousness is free, totally free, that bliss comes unsought. You need not seek it. Bliss reveals itself, unsought and uninvited. That's why you have to be careful that understanding only, paying attention again, that in understanding, you have to be careful in understanding that meditation is not a search for happiness. You are not seeking happiness. Because by seeking happiness, you have created a gap between you and happiness. Now the happiness becomes the other that you have to seek. That works against the vision, the truth. Therefore, we have to understand meditation is myself. It is effortless. It is not submitting oneself to a formula. It is just total attention to what is Sat, which is Chit. Attention is Chit only, Sat Chit. And uninvited, unsought, unasked for, the happiness reveals itself, bliss comes itself. Now, once you have discovered that inner freedom from all these things, formulas, the search is not freedom. A person who is in search is not free. You see, I have met two brahmacharis. One brahmachari is not in search of a girl for marriage. And another brahmachari, he and his parents, they are frantically searching for a girl to marry him. I met both of them. I could see the difference. This guy is not free because he is burdened by the search. Because nowadays in India, the girls are not marrying the boys. You see, the man is an engineer, 30-year-old, and doing a good job, making good money, has a home and has a motorbike, bullet, and strong ribs and all that, and good banyan, everything he has that a young lady wants. But the lady refuses to marry. They are not interested in marrying. They don't want to marry. So, there are very few girls ready to marry. Therefore, this man is in search of marriage. And I am not exaggerating. Of all people, he asked me, do you have any spiritual mantra or blessing, this or that, so that he gets married? I told her, okay, I understand your difficulty. The parents are in difficulty also. I understand the difficulty. I bless you wholeheartedly. You believe me, soon your son gets married. I was hoping myself. Because I don't know when he will get married. But I presented a profile. Okay, I am blessing and things will be all right. Go home. So he went home. After 6 months, he sent a message to me that my son is getting married. Please bless. So he got married. So till then he is not free. So when there is search, why you want to get married? Because you want ananda. You are in search of happiness. People are all in search of happiness. Why are they in search of happiness? That is the formula for disaster. So, therefore, you should not convert meditation into a search of happiness. So, once all these things, all these nuances or criticalities associated with meditation are in place, then it doesn't matter where you live, which part of the world you live, it doesn't matter. So there may be all noise around you, that also doesn't matter. There may be, the world is a very brutal world. Everybody is selfish. If you are not careful, if you are not alert, you will be cheated. And they will put you to difficulty also. This is a brutal world. It all doesn't matter. You may still live in the same noisy and brutal world. None of it will touch you. You remain immune to all the problems of the world, and you abide in yourself as the pure Atma, which is bliss. Cidānandaikarūpatvāddīpyate svayameva. That is the meditation. And once you realize this meditation and understand meditation correctly, all conflict comes to an end. Because now you do not struggle. Why should you struggle? Suppose you run, you are struggling, you are not able to run. Therefore, if you are running and it is joyous to run, you run. Suppose running, you are struggling, it is not comfortable to run. Stop running and jog. Jogging is not comfortable, walk. So whatever is comfortable, you do. So that is the right way of life, you know. Otherwise, you will be in conflict. I want to run, but I am unable to run, therefore conflict. The kind of conflict that people have, sometimes it is amazing. You see, in a soccer match, they play final. They came to final means they have already recorded some 5-6 good wins. Then only they come to final. And they made lot of money, lot of goals they have scored, they have proved themselves adequately, that's why they came to final. And in the final, there is one more team of the same caliber, and both are equal, and they fight. And then one team wins, the other team loses. Any one team should win. Both teams cannot win. If they make equal goals in 90 minutes, 1-1. They add another 30 minutes and ask them to fight it out. If it is equal goals, even after 30 extra time, they will do it with kicks, penalty kicks, 5-5. If they are equal after 5, they give another 5, do it. So only one team has to win. They cannot get two teams equal, no such thing. Only one team has to win. And therefore, the team wins. The other team members, having come to the great success and effort and all that, all people are praising their glory. They sit in the field and cry bitterly. Why? Because there is so much conflict. When you are in search of something, there is so much conflict. The religious field is no different. In religion, you see tremendous conflict. And in spirituality also, in the name of spirituality, there is so much conflict. Because everybody is searching for something. So, therefore the meditation is not the movement of mind in search of happiness. Meditation is the movement of mind which is in freedom, free from struggle and conflict and search. That is the movement of mind, which is the real meditation. That is the meditation vakya. Cidānandaikarūpatvāddīpyate svayameva. Tat, I finished the meditation vakya. Now we come to the first line. jñātṛjñānajñeyabhedaḥ paratmani na vidyate. That is the vakya. This vakya, it is there in Gita also. Jnanam jñeyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. Gita is something. So, you see, when you talk of knowledge, what is your understanding of knowledge? How do you look at this thing called knowledge? It is supposed to be very sacred also. So, you have to examine what is knowledge. Because Shankara says in that Supreme Self, Paratmani, that is you, there is no knowledge. He is saying that the Triputi, jñātṛjñānajñeya. Jñātru, the knower, jnana, the knowledge, which is also the pramana. Knowledge is the pramana. Okay? Pramatru, prameya, pramana. Jñātru, jñeya, jnana. The dhatu and ana. That ana comes karanarthe. Okay? Therefore, when you say knowledge, what is the idea that you have? What kind of knowledge will liberate you? How do you look at this knowledge? Because jñātṛjñānajñeya division or difference is absent in that Supreme Self, then you, whatever ideas you have about knowledge have to be re-examined. Because in the Supreme Self, knowledge is not there. Not only knowledge, jñātru and jñeya is also not there. You see that the trick is, first comes jnana. And when there is jnana in place, jñātru and jñeya emerge as a dipole. And that creates a context in which jñātru is inside, jñeya is outside. There is a means by which the jñāta knows the jñeya. The division. So this kind of division is not there in the Atma. You see, what happens is, Atma is one, all the divisions are not there, like caste, creed, race, religion, you, me, all these divisions, body divisions, mind divisions, they do not create any division in the Atma. Atma is one. So you say that. Oh, is it like that? It is interesting. It is interesting that we are all one. That is interesting. Nobody says that, but this Vedanta fellow says it. Now whether he means it or not, he is saying it. The book says, he says it. Therefore, it is interesting. You are amused by it, and you may be serious about it also. How come it is one? Let me examine how that oneness. Great. But it doesn't stop there. It is explicit, it is. There is implicit also. And so when you say jñeya, it is in you. Ghatajnana is in Ghatadesha or Hridaya Desha. It is in Hridaya Desha. Ghatajnana is not in Ghata. Therefore jnana is here, jñeya, Ghata is also here, Ghatajnanam is also here. Ghata as a jñeya is here, Ghatajnanam is here, Ghatajñātru is also here. So, therefore, this jnana, which brings jñātru, jñeya along with it, has to be carefully appreciated in order to understand the truth of the self. Knowledge, as it is known in the world, as it is practiced by all of us, is an addiction as a drink is an addiction. People are addicted to drinking and people are addicted to knowledge also. And knowledge, the way people pursue it, it doesn't bring understanding. It doesn't give understanding. You don't understand. You only get knowledge. Now look at that. If knowledge you are getting more and more knowledge, and there is no understanding, you don't get understanding, and all this knowledge is not going to give understanding, then you have to examine this blessed thing called knowledge. Because what you need is understanding, not knowledge. So, you see, a Nobel laureate in chemistry or in physics, whatever, why he fights with his wife? Why his wife has divorced him? He is a Nobel laureate, you know. His wife must be very happy with him. But the fact is, his wife has divorced. 3 wives have divorced him till now. He is a Nobel laureate, all right. What is happening? Means he just doesn't understand the wife and her aspirations, her heart. He just doesn't understand. He has plenty of knowledge. Wo to hai. Therefore, there is a thing called understanding and then there is a thing called knowledge. You have to pay attention to these things. So should we dismiss knowledge? We are not dismissing it in a normal sense. In the world, to make a living, to get a post, to get a degree, you need knowledge. But to get the understanding of Paratma, knowledge is not going to help. In fact, the other day I was saying, and after saying I was thinking, did people get it? It is difficult also to get. You see, knowledge doesn't help in the relationship. When both the wife and husband are highly qualified, it is very tough whether how long there can be good relationship between them. Very tough. That's why a doctor, great doctor, accomplished MD, this and that, he says, I will marry another doctor only, then fight with her. They don't understand. I was saying knowledge doesn't help in the relationship. Understanding helps in the relationship, and knowledge comes in the way of understanding. So, then knowledge can be taught. Wisdom cannot be taught. Understanding cannot be taught. You can point it out and it is up to the student to get it. Knowledge can be taught. Binomial theorem can be taught. Newton's laws of motion can be taught. Einstein's special theory of relativity can be taught. But not wisdom. Now I will make one statement. See whether you appreciate it. To understand, to gain that wisdom which is needed to make life meaningful, there must be freedom from knowledge. That doesn't mean you don't get educated, you don't go to school. That is not what I mean. When you are talking with your spouse, with your wife, say, you have to understand her heart. Then you have to put aside your degrees, your vyakarana, your tarka, you put aside. Don't allow it to come in the way. Because she may be illiterate. But she knows what she knows. And she has a heart and she has aspiration. She is a human being, she is Atma. And all the glory of Atma is in her. And to understand her, the knowledge can become an obstruction. Suppose you are a professor of mathematics, talking with your wife. This knowledge you have to put aside. That doesn't mean when you go to teach mathematics to students, you don't need knowledge. No, that is not the way. Therefore, you better have knowledge. By all means, you have knowledge. You need to have freedom from knowledge also. You need to have freedom from knowledge. Otherwise, suppose a kid comes to you, you want to love the kid and you want to interact with the kid. Don't you need freedom from knowledge? So, you see, after the class is over, you have to take food and you go your home, etc. For that you need knowledge by all means. So, you must have knowledge, like I am speaking in English, I must have the knowledge of English and you all should have the knowledge of English. I want to write an essay and publish in a paper, I need knowledge. All that is fine. And so, I must have knowledge. So, function. You want to function in this society. You want to work in a company, etc., and you want to function in this society. For that you need knowledge. Knowledge is necessary. But if that knowledge you use in a relationship, to function in the office you need knowledge. You come home and wife is there, and you in that relationship you use your knowledge. How do you use? I am a very highly qualified person, you are from village, you just follow what I say. If that is one way of using the knowledge. Or maybe there can be other ways of using the knowledge. You don't know even this small thing. So like that, if you use knowledge in a relationship, that relationship can become a burden. And therefore, knowledge in relationship with another human being, knowledge can become a barrier. And between people there is a division only because of knowledge. Aham Brahmanaha, Vaidikaha, a student of a scholar of Vedas, and he is a Shudra. And therefore there is a barrier between us. Where from this barrier has come? Both are human beings, you know. Both are Atma is too far. Both are human beings. Why barrier? No. I am a Veda scholar. Knowledge is a barrier. You know, Veda scholars and Veda people, smarta people are there. Smarta people mean Pujari, Purohit, etc. Vaidikas look down upon the Pujaris and all that. Because knowledge. It is knowledge. And Vyakaranas, Vyakarana people, when some people use some silly Sanskrit words, oh, these ignorant ignoramuses. Therefore, it is the knowledge which creates a barrier. And Sri Krishna is saying, you rise above that barrier, vidyavinaya sampanne brahmane. And then shunichaiva shvapakecha. Pandita samadarshinaha. You have to see the sameness in the Brahmana who is a great scholar and a meat eater. You have to see the sameness. Means what he is asking you to do, rise above your knowledge. Don't allow the knowledge to come as a barrier. Right? Because it divides people. Knowledge in relationship, in human relationship, is destructive. So, therefore, you see, suppose knowledge becomes a tradition. Knowledge is memory. And then, based on knowledge, you build an image for yourself, image about yourself. They do that. Based on knowledge, they build an image. I am such and such. Based on knowledge, they give visiting card. Name, Mr. Johnson, MA, MSc, BSc, Philosophy, FRCA, FRA, so many things will be printed. Name is this much, the titles are this much. Sometimes the visiting card, one side is not enough, they will have a folding visiting card where all that knowledge achievements are listed. They do that. When they write email, some of them write, many of them write simple people, they write email and they sign off with their name. But some of them sign off the email with all their degrees. They introduce like that. So very glad to see you, sir. Do you know who am I? Please tell me, what is your good name? So I am Mr. K. Ramarao, PhD and professor. That is how the person introduces himself. So knowledge has become a burden really, and it separates, knowledge separates, and therefore creates conflict in relationship. It is the knowledge which is creating conflict. Money creates conflict. One is rich and the other is poor, some conflict can be there. But we are looking at knowledge. There are people, even among those who come to Vedanta class, the lady says, my husband doesn't know anything about Vedanta. She is coming to the classes and he never makes an appearance. She says, I tell him to come. You should know, I tell him to come. He doesn't know anything. So the knowledge has become a barrier. Then I say, no, we should not say like that. We should not say people do not know anything, people are ignorant, people are unhappy. We should not say those things. When you look at people, they are all Atma. We do not judge them one way or the other based on our knowledge. And if you are doing that, you have not understood the spirit of Gita. That is not the way to do it. Now, if this discussion is not relevant at this verse, where else it will be relevant? Here we are dismissing jñātṛjñānajñeyabhedaḥ in Atma. Therefore, when you relate with your spouse or in any relationship, the jñātṛjñānajñeyabhedaḥ, you should not allow it to come in the way. Suppose the student is studying with you, some Sanskrit, some Vedanta, etc. Then encourage him to study grammar, this and that. And when he doesn't study properly, you admonish him. All that is fine. But suppose he has some illness and he needs some help, then, I am asking you to study Shabdas and Vyakarana for 6 months, and now you never followed my advice. Now you become sick and therefore I have to help you. Do you do that? And some people do it. Ask him to go, he doesn't know any Vyakarana. So we should be very cautious about this knowledge. And I have seen people saying, they don't know Vedanta. Vivekananda doesn't know Vedanta because he has not studied Tattvavidananda. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did not know Tarka Sangraha. Therefore he doesn't know anything. Ramana Maharshi, what is his qualification? What texts of Vedanta? Did he study Brahma Sutra? You look at this is the attitude. And then we are the Vedantins because we studied Vedanta. I wish they know a little more Vedanta. That is always there. That is always there. But we are Vedantins, whereas in the world they don't know anything. And then there are some pseudo-Vedantins who are coming and disturbing the tradition. Therefore we have to put a fence around our Vedanta and protect it. ये knowledge क्या हो रहा है? The knowledge has made these people monsters, divisive and separative. So you should be very cautious about this knowledge. It is your knowledge is not going to liberate you. You have to know the knower and abide in that pure Atma, which is Cidānanda. That will liberate. And therefore Shankara said, Jnanam Jneyam Jnanagamyam. That is what Sri Krishna said. It is the Jnana, it is the Jñeya, and it is gained by understanding. Jnana is understanding, not by accumulation of knowledge. Therefore, in the Vedanta circles, highlighting the relevance of knowledge has become very important. Because in the Vedanta circles, there is a lot of misinformation about knowledge. So, I am concluding, a person has studied all the Upanishads and Brahma's Prasthanatraya, he studied, male or female, remained unhappy and in samsara. Then the Guru is now helpless. What can he do? Then what the Guru says, okay, you study that Upanishad, that I have already studied. Okay, do Brahma Sutra, that I have already done. So what to do now with this guy? He is still unhappy and in samsara. Did you study Ishtasiddhi? No, I did not study Ishtasiddhi. Go ahead and study that. Study Ishtasiddhi. So for one year, the person will stop bothering the Mahatma. Go for Ishtasiddhi. That is one advantage in that. And the person studies Ishtasiddhi, that book, with some difficulty, and still remains unhappy. Therefore, knowledge is important. I am not denigrating or disparaging knowledge. Important. I am speaking English. I should know English. Otherwise, how will I speak? But its relevance when it comes to understanding the truth of the self has to be carefully appreciated, and we should not allow knowledge to get to the head and make a barrier between the truth and myself. And also knowledge, if it is separative, then that knowledge is doing mischief rather than helping the person know the truth. We will discuss it further. And already not over. This jnana, jñātṛu, a lot of it is there. We will discuss it in tomorrow's class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam